everyone. Sorry for the wind. It's really windy today. We just got a storm. It was a brief storm, but it's sunny now, as you can see. And I can't really show you work days, unfortunately, because I don't have like the video editing software and to splice the videos together and take out my rambling. So these are just like straight shots. So you're not going to really get the work that I put in, but you can always research the intricacies between each thing. This is more of like overview type stuff today, especially today. But last season, without doing due diligence other than what I wanted things to look like, I planted these willow trees, which are alive, on a ridge. It's stony and sandy. Not the best place for willow trees. It would have been better off down the slope where it's a little wetter, specifically around where where I might dig a future pond, but I don't have $4,000 to dig it right now. So, but yeah, maybe down there would have been better. But for now, they look okay. I planted them like, I think it's 8-foot spaced, I believe. This is dead up here on the top. Anyways, what I want to show you today is not necessarily the swale that we're going to plant our first row of pears on, and there's going to be another swale here as well on contour. This contour line, it curves to those trees and then it heads south, kind of thing. But so there's this. What I did get planted so far, you can see the evidence of the rain today, but what I did plant so far are the goumi berries. Now these are sweet tart berry, not prone to many diseases, mold, mildew, any of that. They grow about 6 feet tall, 6 to 8 feet tall. I got sweet scarlet goumi berries, and then in the middle of them, I'm planting, I haven't gotten in yet. They're coming in bare root, but red gem goumi berries. So you can see they're all planted. Now these are going to be in line with my muscadine grapes. So I got 2 rows of muscadine. I ran out of wire, so I got to get wire for the other row, and then I got to hang them up with wire clips. But for now, in between each of these poles, there's going to be these T-posts. There's going to be right in the middle. So these are 20 feet spaced. So in the middle is 10 feet. There's going to be a muscadine vine growing up, and then it's going to tee off on the top, and it's going to be the same here. So in the middle, muscadines are heavy feeders. So I thought, what better place to put my goumi berries than right where my muscadines are going to be. So on either side, there's going to be goumi berries flanking both rows. But so far, I got those planted down. They came in 1-gallon pots. I got those from onegreenworld.com. And then the muscadines are overwintering because I got those from Ison's. These are going to go about here. They're real thick, 9-gauge wire, real thick, man. This is never going to break. Yeah, so got those planted. Oh, also, there are 6 elderberries planted. John and Adams, they're alternate for better pollination in the front yard. So there's going to be a hedge and then another hedge. So, but yeah, John Adams, these are spaced 8 feet apart. You can tell these are a little bit closer here. It's a little bit farther, but roughly about 8 feet. Because these grow about 10 feet tall. So, and it'll also be a good barrier for the neighbor, a little bit privacy hedge. But got those planted in as well. And I didn't want to take the bark around with the lawnmower or weed whacker, so I got these gauges up, and I can just reach in and try to weed, because this grass is going to grow in the first month of spring. It'll be full grass by then. So yeah. All right, my dirty shed with the 35-degree controller here. Enough for 2 outlets, but I don't want to have 2 heaters. Maybe a fan to blow and circulate the air, but not a heater. So the figs are doing okay. The Macedonia Dark seem to do really good so far. As far as being more cold hardy, but they didn't get more than just 2 frosts. And then the Hativ seemed to be okay too. Versus others like, and again, it's just 2 frosts, but like the Bordesau Blanca Ramada, I believe is what this one is. It died. This is all dead. This all looks dead. It looks dead all the way down. I don't know though. But the tips are not doing too well. The beer's black. See, it's getting a little bit of life down this far, so it died. The tips died. On the beer's black. My plan is to wait 3 years to plant these in the ground. I was going to do it this next season, but I want to harden this wood up a little bit more first. And I'm not going to plant everything out. I'm not going to plant the St. Martin out, even though these are supposedly, look at this. This one's probably going to sprout from the base, if at all. Macedonia Dark, the wood looks good all the way up. St. Martin, another of the same. Not looking too good frost-wise. And then the Macedonia again is looking great. So the Macedonia is a keeper for sure in this climate. Parola doesn't look too bad. Medici, historic, same as a Bordesau. This beer's black. Tip death on everything. All the tips are well, not these down here though. These are alive. All these lower tips are alive. Well, not this part, but inside of the wood it is. These nodes are probably good. Let's see. Now, I came in here to show you the muscadines, not really the figs, but these will become things like the Roja, Coldedom Roja. These are never gonna get planted outside. I don't think these are gonna be hardy enough, but I cut them way back too, and I didn't root any cuttings from anything I cut back. Roja again. Looks good. Again, just two frosts, not even heavy frosts, but it did drop down to like 20 or I think about 25 degrees. Parola, St. Martin. I think I'm gonna get rid of all the St. Martins because they're not very vigorous anyways. This Macedonia it never did. It was always kind of weak. I might kill these weak ones off down here. Bordesau Blanca Ramada. I bought it for the flavor specifically, not for the cold hardiness, but it could be something I overwinter. I might have a few, as long as they ripen soon enough that I can overwinter in here. And actually, I can hang grow lights. I got some big grow lights I can hang off of these, and even get a head start in this big section here, so I can like head start maybe 10 plants, 10 pots per season that I can fit. So, anyways, I got some Ison muscadines here. Now, these aren't really hardy the first year, I wouldn't think. These came in as bare root. They're about $12, $16 a plant, depending on if you get like the oversized ones like I did. These will reach that fence wire right now, and then they'll start teeing off. I'll just top them, and they'll tee off across the line. So I got the Ison variety, and then I got Black Beauty, and then the labels are on some of these Summit, and I got Carlos. So those 4 varieties, I got 2 Summit, um, 2 Carlos, 4 Black Beauties, and 4 Ison. But they gave me a 5th Ison, so I basically have everything I need for both rows of muscadines, and then I got gummy berries on order that are still to be shipped. And it's good that they're coming in sporadically and not all at once, because planning them out, building those fence cages. Let me show you that process actually. This one is a little bit overboard, but I try to, when I make a cut to make a new length of this, I cut in the middle. That leaves a little bit here to twist over on one side and a little bit here to twist over on the other side. And that's kind of what you see here on these. This is my first day trying this. Let me show you what I have down on the orchard for the larger, taller cages. And while we walk, there's 21 apples and pears coming in April, mid-April. So 9 apples because they're a little bit less disease tolerant. And I got 12 pears coming. I also have, I think, a bunch more goumi berries. I believe 11 more goumi berry plants coming. And then I got the eight pawpaw trees coming of 2 different cultivars. And then I have, let's see. Oh, I got 5 jujubes coming, the honey jar and the Lee. And then I know one of the pawpaws, KSU Atwoods, the other is Maria's Joy. Chosen for ultimate flavor, just based on reviews, not anything I've tried. But anyways, this is the gate, and I didn't do this one up here. But it's supposed to wrap around both sides, kind of like this, here. So I overlap it one, and then I wrap both, and it's perfectly strong. I still need to rebar these in. What I did was I just cut the ring off of one side, and then it's down as deep as this right now, all the way around. But I'm gonna need a rebar from from what at the base is all the way up, and then zip tie or put some kind of tie on it about this high, just to make sure that they're harder to knock over. So yeah, I have those trees coming on order already, and then let me see if there's anything else. I have 2 persimmon varieties, 8 trees each. One is the Proc, because of the richness and flavor, and then the other, and also the Proc is highly cold hardy, so that's kind of why I picked that one also, because I can only pick the cold hardy varieties. Same thing with mulberries. So I got some Oscar mulberries rooting. I have 10 plants or 10 sticks rooting right now in a dark closet. So I'm gonna keep them in darkness for about maybe 3 to 4 weeks before bringing them out to the light, because by then the roots should be establishing. And then I have, so that's the Oscar. And then I have Kip Parker. I bought 12 sticks. I bought those off Figbid, which is a website for figs, but other trees as well. So figbid.com, 12 Kip Parker mulberries. The ends, these post ends, I couldn't find anything, and I kind of rushed and probably made a huge mistake by getting this kind of lumber. I'm gonna have to paint it, but even then, still probably gonna have issues down the road with this. But this is 6-inch pine or whatever. You can see how large these rings are. But I got them cemented in 6 feet, or 6 feet, I wish. They're 3 feet deep with a tape measure, 3 feet all the way down on both. And if I hit them, they're pretty sturdy. Because we got winds normally coming from the the southwest towards the northeast this way. But these are kind of in line to the winds, at least the harshest ones. So we should be. And then along with this, I wish I would have got one of these also in the middle, a couple muscadines down to kind of strengthen the middle, because the middle is going to be, the wind is going to be pretty heavy on these. I'm going to need to tighten this with a winch or something. The way it is that we have these in, and this isn't even flush yet. I didn't have a drill bit to fit it. I tried to bevel it out the best I could. But the way these do is that when you pull the line out, they don't ever allow the line to go back. So on the other side, the opposite direction, it's the same, and it works even though they're like the opposite direction, to where it locks it in place. So once you tighten it on one end, it stays tight on both. And these are strong enough that I can put a little tension on this thing to strengthen up the middle, because these posts are in the ground. I think these are in the ground a couple feet, but you can tell they're not as sturdy as and so in a heavy wind environment where we have 50 pounds of grapes on each vine in the middle, and the wind is blowing them, we're going to need these edges to be a little bit tighter. So, but they're low enough to the ground to where there's enough friction to slow the wind down, at least at the ground level, that the wind is going to be way less here than it would be in a tree 30 feet high, 40 feet high. So that's the thought, at least. Wonder if I should say anything else. I did put these in with a little bit of kelp powder and some oyster shell flour for the calcium. The soils here in Oklahoma are slightly acidic, which would be, a little bit less calcium. But so I added that in, and currently the only other plants that are being shipped actively right now are 2 figs that are cold hardy cuttings. I'm gonna root those, and then the Kip Parker mulberries are not. I think those are gonna get shipped on Monday. And I'm waiting on everything else. So hopefully they come in small batches, so where I can plant some out and get a break, plant some out and get a break. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up. Again, this is sandy loam soil. That's why I chose this site. I have a duplicate site to this in the backyard that's the same size roughly as this, but I got about 3/4 of an acre of sandy loam soil, deep sandy loam. Every one of those I dug straight down, no rocks. I mean, and the soil, even at the base layer, is really good. This is like silt, basically. Because it's fine sandy loam. It's a PB type soil, if you want to look it up, PB type, but it's sandy loam. It almost feels like silt. Not like clay, but excellent soil. I'm just hoping that the voles don't get to my roots and girdle my trees at the base and take the bark out to the cambium, because the voles love young bark that's not too woody yet to eat for snacks. So, and we have voles here. All these little mounds. Let me see if I can show you any of them. Yes, like either voles or moles. I have seen voles, and I didn't know what they were until I moved to Oklahoma, but all these mounds. But they'll girdle your trees and they'll leave it because your tree can't bring up nutrients, and especially water, other than through the cambium layer, which sits right between the bark and the inner wood. And that's the part they like to eat, is that bark, the young bark, and the roots. If you have big fat, any plants with like bigger, fatter, starchier roots, they'll eat that too. And they'll weaken your plant really bad. And I was thinking about burying these cages down a foot, but I didn't want to do the extra work. I don't know if it's going to bite me or not. So we're learning. At least what we've gotten though so far is in my criteria are plants that survive our sporadic winters. So right now, this week it's like in the low 70s in the daytime. I'm out with my t-shirt on. But then it could, like next week, it could drop down to 3 degrees. And so a plant needs to be able to deal with that. So a plant needs to be able to, in this environment, have a week worth of, low 70s, high 60s, and not come out of dormancy just to have its new growth tips frozen off the very next week or two. That's number one. Number two is, do we have a few summer days where it's really humid and stagnant, like 80%, 90% humidity, very stagnant, no wind. So to be very resistant to fungus and yeast and mold and mildew and all those things, that's another criteria. And then another one is to be able to survive just the heat in the summer. So things like gooseberries might not do so well here, even though they're delicious, and you can grow them in your understory on your trees to double your production. Not double, but like add to your production. We can't grow them here because they don't do so well in the heat. They were on my short list, but I removed them. Another thing is just overall taste of the food, of the fruits. Making sure that it actually tastes good. It's not milly or, dry or, overly dry or something like that. Grainy, making sure it tastes good. And then the other is season extension. So looking for things that fruit earlier than later or later than earlier, and mixing them together is a good thing. So we are looking at earlier production like goumi berries specifically. I'm looking for a couple cultivars of I think they're called Saskatoon berries, which are service berries, which are a small tree that grows berries profusely. But they also ripen early, like in June, July time. So that's going to be an early extension to our season. And also for any honeybees, because we got a couple swarm traps out back to trap wild bees. I don't want to buy commercial bees. I want to buy bees that are able to keep themselves alive with no human pesticides, herbicides, or fungicide intervention. So we got wild traps out back, but things that will also extend the nectar and pollen season for any bees would be good. So those two, goumi berries and service berries. Now on the end of the season, we're looking at other plants, maybe even purely flowering plants for the bees. But for us, it's going to be persimmons and our apples. Some of the apples are going to ripen around November beginning. Same thing with the persimmons. And then so we're going to look for a few other things that'll, like even strawberries will produce early. The only thing about strawberries though is that how do we grow strawberries here? Please comment on this one. How do we grow strawberries here and keep the grass out of the strawberries? Because with the winds, as you can see, and grass is wind pollinated, but then the seeds also can blow a few feet or more in the wind, and that's how that's how God designed them. How do we keep this out of the strawberry? Like, maybe I can put like a weed fabric and then put the holes just for where the strawberries go. That's a good idea. Maybe I can do that, but I don't want to devote money and time into something that's going to turn into this within like 3 months here, because in Oklahoma the grass is ridiculous. In the summer, I don't know if you remember the video I carved, but there was a giant ragweed, all kind of other weeds, and they were like 6 feet tall where I'm standing. Where I'm standing, I mowed it all over, but some patches were worse than others, and this is some of the worst in other parts here. So anyways, strawberries would be another season extension, but I need a way to keep the grass from growing, because it's not just this clump grass. We have Bermuda here because for some reason everyone always plants it, and you can't kill Bermuda once you plant it. It's possible. But there's some cool season grass. I don't know exactly what type this is, but there's cool season grass. There's the dormant warm season stuff. A lot of this is perennial grass. A good amount of it would be. So any ideas on that? But then in the middle of the season, like your figs or our figs, and then some of our pears, some of our other fruits that we're going to be growing. That's not going to be an issue. But one thing we don't want to have is a ton of fruit, right around August, September, and then not a lot of fruit in June, July, or in October, November. So that's kind of the thought on how we can get a good even distribution, as even as possible, from June all the way through November beginning, or the late October time frame is what we're looking to do. So any questions or comments, definitely ask. And my 20-minute break is over, so I'm going to get back to work. Sometimes I like to come out and get some air, but I thought this time, because I haven't cut a video in several months, that I'd show you what's going on here. Thanks for watching.